Welcome back, everyone, to the Emerging Civil War Symposium 2025. I'm here with Dave Powell. I'm Evan Portman, and we're going to talk a little bit about his new book, From Camp Douglas to Vicksburg. So, Dave, what's kind of the thing that drew you to Kennedy here and his letters, or what's kind of the origin story behind this book?
This is a project that was actually brought to me. My co-author, Rachel Mellon, is a collateral descendant of Kennedy. She found his letters in the Abraham Lincoln Library in Springfield, Illinois. And she was doing ancestral research into her husband's family. And she liked the letters. She got excited about them when she realized that Kennedy was married one of the Mellon sisters, and so was connected to the family. She brought them to my publisher, who connected her with me to sort of help her with the editorial process. Her specialty is genealogical research. My specialty is Civil War. And so together, when I first read the letters, I was pretty happy with them. They're a very interesting set of letters. They're what we historians love, because they're strongly opinionated. They're a little bit, there's internal conflict within the regiment. He describes his military actions. He has some conflicts with some of the officers. He also describes things that don't get into the official reports, like the cowardice of one of the captains.
Wow.
It was all of that really led me to them, and I was delighted to help with the project, and so we got it off the ground, and finally it's come out. It got delayed a little bit because of COVID and the logistical backlog of printing. But we finally got it out. It came out this spring.
Awesome. Yeah, you gotta love that juicy historical drama, right? Of
Absolutely.
People writing letters and diaries about different characters and the stuff that you don't see in official reports, right?
It's why historians love guys like General William T. Sherman, because whatever pops into his brain comes right out his mouth.
For sure. So this is an edited volume, right?
Yes.
As opposed to
right.
You writing. It's a primary source.
It's not a narrative, but it's an edited primary source. We added details on all the family members mentioned, all the officers mentioned. The 55th Illinois is a fairly famous Chicago regiment. It had a famous, some would say notorious Colonel David Stewart, who was a trial lawyer in Chicago before the war. Became involved in a very contentious divorce case, and of course, divorce in the 1860s, 1850s is much more risque than today, and so he was one of those F. Lee Bailey type, notorious trial lawyer types.
Yeah,
he raises the 5th Illinois, so the fact that Kennedy was connected with the 55th makes it that much more interesting. They have a dramatic fight at Shiloh. They're heavily involved in Vicksburg, and after Vicksburg, of course, they're also involved in the Atlantic campaign. Unfortunately, William Kennedy dies.
Oh, okay.
He's wounded on May 22nd at Vicksburg.
Wow.
And so I only get the first half of the regiment's experience.
Right.
But that was an added bonus.
Yeah. So what is, compared to, you've written a lot, right, about the Western theater, what's kind of your methodology of writing, a secondary work right on, let's say, Atlanta versus editing, a primary source?
Well, when you want to, it's kind of the same approach, actually, because I try and use as many primary sources as I can in my writing and try and quote a great number of them. But you want to verify as much as possible. If he mentions something contentious, well, then you try and use all your other sources to verify what happened to this officer, for instance, who was ultimately cashiered for cowardice at Shiloh. didn't happen for another 9 months. That's how long the process takes sometimes.
Yeah.
But you try and verify as much as possible through the other existing records. Just double check his story. And Rachel had the home front handled on that. She was able to use local primary sources to verify the family stuff. We have his letters. We don't have his wife's letters to him. He burned his wife's letters in the field. Not uncommon. You didn't want them captured.
Yeah.
Occasionally we run across accounts of soldiers who capture the other side's letters, and then we'll make fun of them or make note of them.
Right.
And so soldiers didn't want their private lives revealed that way.
Yeah.
So we don't have her letters, but because of the way he wrote and his responses to them, we get a strong sense of what she's saying when she writes.
Okay.
So we do have sort of almost two halves of the narrative there. The other thing that stands out about Private Kennedy, he wanted to be Captain Kennedy, but he never got there, is that he's a second generation Irish American. His parents are Irish immigrants. And so he's pretty closely tied to the Irish community. And he's a canal worker before the war, digging the Illinois and Michigan Canal, as a lot of Irish immigrants, recent immigrants, did in the 1850s. But unlike a lot of the Irish, who are not really well received in the newly formed Republican Party, it's an anti-immigrant party.
Yeah.
He's really strongly pro-Lincoln, pro-Republican, has nothing to do, doesn't want anything to do with the Democrats, who he views as copperheads.
Huh.
And so that's another added dimension that's fascinating.
Yeah.
He's not stereotypical.
Right. Yeah. No, that's very fascinating. So if you want to learn more about Private Kennedy, check out Dave's new book. Thanks for being with us today, Dave, and for being with us here at the 2025 Symposium. I'm Evan Portman, and we'll see you online and on the battlefield.